from Colossians chapter 3. Let's read a few verses. Colossians chapter 3 from verse 17. Colossians chapter 3 from verse 17. It says, whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, giving thanks unto God and the Father by him. Then he says, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands, as it is fit in the Lord. Then he says, husbands, love your own wives, or love your wives, or husbands, love your own wives, and be not bitter against them. Then he says, children, obey your parents in all things, for this is pleasing unto the Lord. Then he says, fathers, provoke not your children to anger, or provoke not your children to wrath, lest they be discouraged. Then 22, he says, servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing the Lord. Then he says in 23, whatsoever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord and not unto men, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of your inheritance. Ye serve the Lord Christ. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done. It says, there is no respect of persons. Chapter 4, verse 1. It says, masters, give unto your servants that which is just and equal, knowing that you also have a master in heaven. Verse 2, it says, continue in prayer, watch in the same with thanksgiving. Withal, praying also for us, that God will open to us a door of utterance, that we may speak, or we might speak the mystery of Christ, for which I am also in bonds. Now, the reason I read from chapter 3 into chapter 4 is that in the original Bible, there was no chapters. It was human beings that put the chapters. So sometimes you think that maybe it ends on a particular last verse. Maybe it ends in the verse 25 of chapter 3. But actually, when you read and you continue, Paul was actually building a case and continuing his case. Anyway, this morning I want to preach to you from verse 24, Colossians chapter 3, verse 24, where he says that knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of your inheritance. In fact, ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. For ye serve the Lord Christ. So you can say that Paul is talking about serving the Lord Christ. He was not just talking about serving God, but he was talking about serving the Lord Christ. And that is my subject this morning, serving the Lord Jesus Christ. But you can just put it, serving the Lord. So this one I'm talking to you about serving the Lord. Now, let me make an opening statement to say that the fact that you come to church does not mean that you are serving God. If you say that coming to church is the same as serving God, it's like you saying that going to the restaurant makes you a waitress or a waiter, or makes you the caterer in the restaurant. The fact that you've gone to the restaurant to go and sit there and they've come to serve you food does not mean that you are part of the workers in the restaurant. So going to church does not make you a servant of God. You know, coming to church is part of your act of worship. It's part of your act of worship. When it comes to service, there are those who are truly in the service of the Lord. Coming to church is part of your act of worship, your worship of God. But when it comes to service, there are those who are in the service and there are those who are not. Now, in that Colossians chapter 3 verse 24, when he says you serve the Lord Christ, that word serve is the Greek word doulios. And one of the things it means there is that somebody who voluntarily or involuntarily yields himself to the will of another. So if you are serving the Lord Jesus Christ, or if you are serving the Lord Christ, what it means is that you are voluntarily or involuntarily yielding yourself to do the will of the Master who is anointed. In the Old Testament, you know, when God was giving the statutes to the children of Israel, one of the things he said to them is that if you have a farm, you have a business, you have a shop, or you have some company you are running, You can employ people. In those days, whoever you employed became like your slave. The person you employed literally didn't do their will. They did your will as their master or as their employer. And so if the person is working for you, the person doesn't do his will. In fact, you owned the person. Body, soul, spirit. And God was clear in his commandment. The person is supposed to work for you for 6 years. And in the 7th year, you are supposed to release the person. Now, even if the person starts working for you, so there were 7-year cycles. So there were about 7-year cycles. As in like 7 of 7-year cycles. So that means that after 49 years, you hit the year 50, which we call the year of Jubilee. We also call it the year of release. So if in the 49th year, you employed somebody as a slave, and the person was working for you, in the 50th year, which is the year of Jubilee, what have they done to me? In the year of Jubilee, what happens is that you have to release the person. Now listen carefully. When the person has finished being your slave for 6 years, and in the 7th year you are supposed to release the person, but the person likes you as a boss, or the person likes you as a madam, and the person says, I don't want to go. I want to remain your slave forever. What they did, I've read it to you several times, that's why I'm not reading it today. What they did is that you would tell the elders of the community. Then the elders will gather together. Then you, the servant, you will come. Then they will take something like a big nail. And then you will put this, your ear, on an anvil. And when you place it on an anvil, they will bore a hole in the ear. Meaning that forever, you have become the slave of that person. What it means is that your body, your soul, your spirit, it belonged to the person. Now, the law was so strict and so strong in such a way that when you took a slave, and the slave comes into your company, or the slave comes into your house, and finds a girl in your house, and marries that girl, and impregnates the girl, and the girl has maybe 3 children, for the slave. When the 7th year comes, and you are releasing the slave, and the slave is going, the slave can go with everything, but the wife and the children belong to the master. It was so serious. So whatever the slave owned, it belonged to the master. It is with that understanding that Paul is saying that we serve the Lord Christ. And you see, there are no meaningless details in the word of God. It didn't say that you serve the Lord Jesus. It says you serve the Lord Christ. You serve the master who is anointed. Because that word Lord means a master. And that word Christ means the anointed one. So it says that you serve the master who is anointed. So I say it again, going to church is part of your act of worship. It's not part of your service to God. There are those who are in the service of the Lord. It's like going to the barracks, going to 2 barracks. Those days when we were young, we used to go to 2 barracks. Going to 2 barracks does not make you a soldier. Walking around on the streets of the barracks does not make you a soldier. Living even in the barracks does not even make you a soldier. What makes you a soldier is the fact that you have been enlisted in the army of Ghana, and then you are recognized. You have a number, a service number, and you have a rank that shows that you are actually in the service of the nation. So when we talk about serving God, we are talking about you yielding yourself, yielding your will. It's not about what you want. It's not about what you want. Sometimes I fast. I don't want to fast, but I fast. I have to. I fast. Sometimes I'm so hungry. There are times when I'm fasting, it's easy for me. But sometimes it's not easy at all. And in the night, I'm very quiet. My wife will say, why are you so quiet? I'm dying on the inside. It's not easy. But you see, I'm not doing my own will. I am doing the will of the Father. And it's not that simple. It's not that easy. And you see, and so when you yield your will, you are no longer yours. Whether you like it or not, as a believer, you don't own your body, you don't own your spirit, you don't own your soul. Christ died for you on the cross and bought you spirit, soul, and body. So the day you die, you leave your body on earth here. Your soul, your spirit, everybody's spirit in them goes back to God because it's breath that is in us. It is God that is in all of us. So that breath, it goes back to God. Whether you're a Muslim, a Hindu, a Buddhist, whoever, it goes back to God. But your soul will appear at the judgment seat of Christ because Christ now owns you. So everything you did inside his body, you have to now appear before him and give an account unto Jesus Christ. He will be sitting down. So we are all not going to appear at the same judgment seat. When everything ends, there is what is called the white throne judgment. That is for every other person who was not a believer. They will appear. They will appear before God the Father. It will not be easy for them at all. Even for those of us who appear before Jesus, it won't be easy. How much more those appearing before God the Father? So there will be the white throne judgment where everybody who was not a believer, whether they buried you in the sea, they buried you in the river, they buried you somewhere, your bodies will arise. And when it arises, you appear before God at the white throne judgment. And then after that judgment, everybody who was not found in the book of life and those who went to hell, they'll be cast into the lake of fire. In fact, if you don't know God and you die, you will die twice. Because when you die the first time, it takes you to hell. Then the second death is there waiting for you. That is the lake of fire. They'll put you into the lake of fire and you'll be consumed. We'll not even hear about you any longer. But those of us who serve God will appear before the judgment seat of Christ. Why are we appearing before the judgment seat of Christ? We are appearing there because he bought us. He owns us. And you see, just like in the Old Testament, the master owned the slave, owned the wife of the slave, owned the children of the slave. When you understand what I'm sharing, you will even say that your husband doesn't belong to you any longer. Your children don't belong to you. Your wife, your husband, they don't belong to you. They belong to the Lord. You relinquish them to the Lord. A lot of people don't have understanding. A lot of people serve God and we lack understanding. We are in God and we are still doing my children, my wife, my children, my wife, my children, my wife. They don't belong to you. They belong to God now. Everything that you have, it belongs to the Lord. So before I begin to look at how we can serve God, let's begin to look at in what ways can you serve the Lord? In what ways can you serve God? Because some people also think that serving God is just doing something in the house of God, but it's not true. It's not true. In what ways can you serve the Lord? Joyce wants to be seeing my face. That's good. In what ways can you really serve the Lord? Number one, when you perform your marital duty. Performing your marital duty is part of your service to God. So remember in Colossians chapter 3 verse 17 it says that whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, giving thanks to God and the Father by him. Then he begins to mention what you should do in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Mr. Koku, it says, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as it is fit in the Lord. Then verse 19 it says, husbands, love your own wives and be not bitter against them. So the first duty you perform in your service to God is to perform your conjugal, I don't want to use the word conjugal, let me use the word, your marital duty. As a wife, unfortunately, some of the problems that crop up in people's marriages that you sit down to solve is a foundational problem. Why do I say it's foundational? The day you are a single girl, you accept the proposal of a guy, whether he may be a fool, but the day you accept his proposal, you are accepting that fool to be your head from that day. You will be subject to his foolish decisions, his foolish thoughts, his foolish ideas, any idea that crosses his mind, and he says that's what he wants to do. You are supposed to follow it. So if you are not ready, don't marry. Don't marry if you have feelings. Feelings worry you a lot. Get some hot water and sit on the hot water and get the feelings away. But don't go and marry at all. Because once you marry, you are choosing a man to think for you. And all of them, all the women that I know in my life, look, those who divorce, or those whose husbands die, they never want to marry again. And when you ask them, they say, hey, I want my peace. I want my peace of mind and my freedom. One woman said, this open and close business is over. It's over in my life. It's over. It's over. So if you don't understand marriage, don't go into marriage at all. You know, there are people who serve God. Maybe they are serving in the church as a pastor or as a lady pastor, and they leave their wifely duties behind. What if my wife dies in the church as a chorister and all that, choir leader and all that? It's not for me. She's doing it for God. It has nothing to do with me at all. If she's not there, another person will handle the choir. So it's not for me at all. What she does for me is to cook for me, to give me sex in the house, and to be there for me all the time. When I can't sleep, I say, come, let me hold you. Whether you don't want to come or not, you have to come. Let me hold you to sleep. That's the job. So if you are doing the choir in the church and in the house, I am hungry, I don't think God will be happy with you at all. Do you think God will be? No. Then it says, you husbands also, you also must perform your duties at home. It says, love your wives. Now, he never tells the women, only once in the whole Bible does the Bible instruct women to love their husbands. All the time, it is men who are instructed to love their wives. And Paul adds to it here, it says, do not be bitter against them. Listen to this statement carefully. No woman is weak, but every wife is weak. I'll say it again. No woman is weak, but every wife is weak. So Peter says, it says, and ye husbands, dwell with 1 Peter 3:7. It says, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor to your wife as unto the weaker vessel. So she is weak in relation to you. What it means is that they can offend you more than you will offend them. Because they talk a lot, and in talking a lot is a multitude of sins. So what it means is that if you are going to be a husband who stays with one woman for a long time, you must master how to forgive and forget and let things go. If your wife is always doing the right thing and you're always happy, then you haven't really met marriage yet. Keep growing in the marriage. And when you keep growing in the marriage, and she says something, she does something that goes into your heart, then your marriage has actually begun. Then that is when you have to master how to overcome the bitterness, overcome the hurt, take it out of your heart as if it never happened, and move on as if it never did. So, if I preach to you and I'm bitter with my wife, if I preach to you and I don't love my wife, I am not serving God in totality. My service to God is casual somewhere. And sometimes Christian husbands are very boring. Very, very boring. You marry them from the day they did engagement for you and they did wedding for you. They don't buy you anything again. Don't go to town and be coming and buy you ice cream. Don't go to town and buy you brassiere. Don't go to town somewhere and buy you panty. Oh, me, I've gone to panty shop, so. Oh, my bakra. I say, hey. Even sometimes I even forget the size of my wife, but I come. And the girls will be looking at me, but I'm comfortable. I'm relaxed. Sometimes I can buy 10. So I want to buy 10. They say, how much is the dollar? They say, I'll buy 10 panties. Then I'll say, I want a particular type. Hey! I'm not saying it to mean anything, to encourage you. Buy your wife perfume. Buy her brassiere. Buy her dress. Some of us, the whole year will pass. The whole year, it will pass. And you see, if you have a boyfriend who is not buying you airtime, tell him from today that from tomorrow he must buy you airtime. Train him from today. Train him, he must buy you airtime. Every week, he should give you airtime. Train him. Once a month, he should take you out to a restaurant to go and sit down there and eat together. Because sometimes even your marriage can become boring. You are bored, you are tired of one another. Sometimes some of the quarrels that spring up in marriages is out of tiredness, out of boredom. So sometimes you need to go to a new place, go to some new hotel, go to some new country, go to some new town and rent a place, and flow over there. Buy your wife a certain type of nightgown. There's a nightgown my wife has been wearing of late. I told her it's a jersey. When I see her, she looks like a basketball player lying by my side. It's a jersey, but I bought it as well. It's a jersey. You have to try and bring things that can, so that your marriage is exciting. It's not boring. Your home must not be boring. It's your job. It's your duty. Because if you hate your wife, you hate your own self. Go to psychiatric hospital. 90% of the cases there are all marital related. They are all marital related for both men and for women. All related to relationships. This thing called love. If you joke and you don't know how to do it, someone will say to pass through your head and you'll be gone. So the first place where you have a duty, that you can serve God is to perform your marital duty. And you see, sex. 2 days ago, I was talking with a man who is 83 years. And the man said that, he's sexually active. And everybody in the room was surprised. And I said, why are they surprised? And I told them my dad was 82 years. When we go to the hospital, 2 times, a number of times, but these 2 times I remember, we'll go out there and say, hey, then we'll go back. He said, doctor, one thing more. The thing is not. And I'm like, Then we are all like, but daddy, you don't have. He said, when I get better, I'll marry again for the 3rd time. So a man even at the age of 82, sex is important. Marrying and giving your husband sex once a week, especially when you are still young, you are not 60 years, and you give your husband sex only once a week, it's like saying that my husband should be tempted by the devil in any way that he can. He should use anything to tempt him. And if he can, he should go into adultery. I don't even care. And so if you as a woman, your mind is not on it all the time, that these 2 things, food on the table, sex in the bed. 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 And you forget that one. You are forgetting a very important act of service to God. To God. Not to man, but to God. So he says, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as it is fit in the Lord. Then he says, you husbands also love. So you the husband, you too, that you like the sex and like the food, you to make sure that you do what you have to do. Pay the bills. Take care of the home. Don't be stingy with money. You gave money, chop money last week. They are still asking for more. Give it and flow. Give your wife money and she'll be happy. Your house will also be happy. And the church was quiet. So sisters, look, what I'm telling you, a lot of Christian marriages are on the rock. Husbands are not happy because they can be with, and the women, the wives, you can be with them 3 months, they've not given you sex, but they will dress and look neat and be smiling and put their palms on their faces and be walking around. Meanwhile, 3 months, their husbands have not touched them. They are troubling their husbands in the bedroom, but in the open, they are collecting funds. You look big, you look beautiful, you look sweet. I like your dressing, I like your shirt, I like your whatever. But then whatever they are supposed to do in the bedroom, they are not doing. I tell people, especially lady pastors, people who do things, who are ladies in the house of God, and you are married. I tell them, if you want your husband to release you the whole of the Sunday, to do whatever you want, to do whatever you please, I tell them Saturday, wash for him, cook for him, and then give him sex as many times as he wants. Sunday morning, he himself will get up and iron for you and say, my wife go to church. One of our church members, the husband he doesn't go to church, the husband will bring her to church on a good Saturday. When the Saturday is well, Sunday morning, the wife will bring him to the entrance and he will come in. And I know Christian men, Christian husbands, who have women they sleep with. I know. The wives don't know. I know the wives. But it's a problem that is there. And when you go inside, The wives sex only once a week. Once a week. I told one on Sunday. I told her on Sunday that, look, if you are doing that, you don't need to be a prophet. I asked her, how long has this been continuing? He says, for 5 years. I said, I don't need to be a prophet. My eyes don't have to open to know that your husband has a girl he's sleeping with somewhere. When I met the guy, he said, oh yeah, pastor, of course. Of course. It's a job. Look at your neighbor and tell my neighbor, tell the person, life is work. Tell your neighbor, life is work. It's a good place to clap your hands together. Life. Hey, Juma. It's work. Number 2. Household duties. Household duties. Once you stay in somebody's house, once you live in somebody's house, and somebody is paying your water bill, paying the light bill, and you are not paying rent, you have a duty to perform. The cooking, the cleaning, the washing, you must do it. You must obey. The Bible says, where am I now? Colossians 3:20. It says, children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing unto the Lord. Then he says that you, the father, you, the mother, also, under whom all these people are, it says, don't provoke your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. You know, we were only boys at home, and there was a point where I was the only boy, I was the only person left in the house. One day my father called me and said, look, Joe, he had many names he called me. One of them was Joe. I don't know why he called me Joe. But he said, Joe, listen, if we had a daughter at this age, she will be the one helping your mother in the kitchen to prepare food. But because there's nobody, and even if there was somebody, you must also know how to cook. So he said, from today, your mother will only prepare soup and prepare stew. You will do all the other type of cooking. So I know how to do fufu. I know how to cook banku. I know how to cook yam. I know how to cook rice. I know how to cook plantain. I know how to cook jollof. I'll try. Yeah. The one I can eat, I'll do it. Not for you. Soup too, I can do. The one I will eat, I can do, but not for you. You know, but we are raising children today who don't know anything. They can't sweep their rooms. They can't mop. They cannot wash. Girls today will pack their panties. One sister told me she has over 60 panties because sometimes in 2 months she has not washed. In 2 months she hasn't washed. And one may be sitting beside you right now as she's sitting there. One may be sitting beside you. She has not washed her brassiere. She has not washed her panty. They don't wash. They won't do anything. They don't know how to clean. They don't know how to mop. They don't know how to sweep. You marry them. So wahala. You know, one man entered into adultery one day. I was telling the board of trustees yesterday. He entered into adultery one day. And they brought the matter to me. So I sat him down. I said, this is what I've heard. Is it true? He said, oh yeah, Pastor, it's true. I said, where is the lady? He said, well, the lady is in the church. And then I said, but why? Why would you do something like this? He said, oh, Pastor, but me, he said, that's what he said. He just said, Pastor, I don't know. But, you know, after it happened the first time, I liked it. So I said, why did you like it? He said, for the first time I entered the woman's bedroom, the bedroom was neat. And this girl, she says, Pastor, when I'm coming, when she knows that I'm coming, perfume, look good. When I enter, the way she serves me the food, and I sit down, even the garnishing. I said, what do you mean by garnishing? He said, the way the soap, I used to wash my hand, the warm water. He said, my wife, cold water. He said, my wife will give me cold water. Cold water. She said, the bed is laid. Then he told me there were 2 pillows, and then she had bought this teddy bear red, and then there's this love thing on top. He said, Pastor, he said, sometimes I go there in the night that after 1 hour I will go. But when I finish, I just sleep. I just sleep. So I called the wife. And I said to the wife, please, this is what your husband was telling me. She said, oh yeah, it's true. That he's been complaining night after night. He complains that I should go and bath. Because, when she goes, the wife sells these tomatoes, fish, and all that. And when she finishes with the smell and everything, she'll come and prepare the soup and serve him. And the man is smelling this thing. And the man says, go and bath. She won't bath till 10 p.m. or 11 before she'll come. What brought us into all this we are talking about? It started from the house. It started from the home. Sometimes at weddings, mothers are crying because they know their daughter. They know their daughter. They are saying sorry for this man who is marrying their daughter. They know their daughter. But you see, we can follow the ancient wisdom. In the olden days, whenever somebody was marrying, the mother and the father would give even house helps to the children to go. So when Rebecca was coming, Rebecca came with house helps to come and be there. But you see, if you are here, you are a lady, single lady, learn how to wash, learn how to cook, learn how to wash with the washing machine, and learn how also to wash without the washing machine. And know how to wash with your hand as well. If you say your hand will have blisters, buy gloves. Use gloves. Learn to use gloves to wash. Train yourself. Because at a point when you are growing and you are rising, and you even have a chef in the house, you have a cleaner, you have different kinds of people who are doing things. You ask the people who are elderly and they marry. Still, that emptiness will be there within you. That what are you doing for your husband? What are you doing for your husband? What are you doing for your husband? So the women, even though they have chefs, will still go and cook for their own husbands. Because it's something that is ingrained. A lot of the inferiority complex and low self-esteem that some of the single wives have today, they picked it from childhood. So if our children are there and we are not making them learn how to cook, learn how to wash, learn how to clean, scrub. Hey, Bishop's bathroom, you scrub. He will come and look at it. He says it's not white. You go again with Parazone and what have you. Today's parents are spoiling their children. And you see, as you are spoiling your children, you are spoiling their future as well. It's not everything I can say in the microphone. But I know many marriages that have been destroyed because the girl was not neat. The girl doesn't wash. The girl doesn't cook. The girl doesn't know how to even keep the home. Lazy. Big buttocks, but lazy. Nice breasts, pointed, but useless in the house. Useful in the bed, useless every other place. Adrian Onibi. They don't know how to even advise their own husbands and give them intelligent advice. Give them sound advice. They give advice based on their emotions and their wickedness. It started from the home. So he says that children, obey your parents in all things. So in all things, in all things, in all things. You want to marry somebody, you love the person, but your mother says no. He said no. Don't go and do it in secret. You love somebody, your father says no. He said no. Don't go and do it in secret. Other than that, all the rest of the days of your life, it will be your word against their word to prove who was right. And you will come to say that your parents were actually right. So anybody under whose authority you are, if the person says no, let it be a no. Let it be a no. Now they are selling private parts. So they are selling how do you call it? They are selling kidneys. It's hot cake. Kidneys, heart, hot cake, vagina, hot cake. Because there are men who are also changing and switching to be women. Where would they get the private part from? It has to be manufactured. Sometimes it has to be done, but sometimes it has to be transported from another person's body and given to this person. So this nice guy has come. He hasn't married you. He has not paid bride price. And he says he's taking you to a country. And your mother says, no, listen to it. And obey. Don't force. A lot of this missing, last sin at whatever, a lot of them, their private parts is what has been taken and stolen. When this private parts selling business started, a kidney was costing $23,000 at the time. Now you can sell a kidney for as much as $150,000. And so, you're a young girl, you're with your father at home, and you want to go somewhere, your father says no, listen to it. You want to take something, your mother says no, listen to it. Cut it. They say, what an elderly person sitting under a tree can see. If a child is even standing on top of a tree, he will never see. So they say, love is blind, but marriage will open your eyes to see clearly. So be careful. And in the church as well, whatever instructions you are given, learn to obey. We say we are fasting, let's all fast. We say we are praying, let's all pray. Let's just follow. Everybody in the house of God, the house, we call it the house of God. And in every house, there is a father. Your pastor is like your father in the church. Whatever we are asked to do, let's try to obey and try to flow. Next one. Work duties. Perform your work duties. If you are working for somebody, be truthful. If you are working for somebody in a company, in a business, be truthful. Be truthful. Be truthful. Do whatever you have to do, or be faithful in that workplace. So in Colossians chapter 3 verse 22, it says, servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing the Lord, or fearing God. So he says that if you are working in a place, if, let's say, for example, if your boss is there, you produce 150 packs. It shouldn't be that when your boss is not there, you produce only 50. That means that you are not being a faithful person. It means that you are not being a faithful person. And you are not doing what you have to do. So he says that don't be a man pleaser. It's like when the person is around, that's when you show that you are working. When the person is not there, then you are on your phone. You are watching movies, you are watching TikTok, you are watching whatever, and cracking jokes and making yourself happy. No. No. Many times when I'm reading my Bible, my phone is off. It can be off 2 hours. It can be off 3 hours. I do not have anybody, like a supervisor watching over me. You know? But God is my supervisor. And I must please him. So my phone is off. Completely. You call me, you won't get me. Until I finish reading my number of chapters I need to read for the day and praying. And sometimes even after, it's off for the rest of the time. I was working with one of our pastors one day, and we got to the area here, and there was a lady, 7 a.m. We finished morning glory. We finished prophetic encounter. 7:30, she had opened a shop. And I told the pastor, if this is our church member, and 7:30 a.m. she has opened the shop, and you say you are a full-time pastor, and as she has opened the shop from 7:30 a.m., 10:30 you are watching Chinese movie in the house, and you expect this woman to work up to like 7 p.m. close and pay her tithe for you to be paid. There's inequality. There's imbalance. There's something missing somewhere. So from morning till evening, I'm busy. I cannot be receiving phone calls the whole day. I will not be an effective pastor. I will not be a strong pastor. I will not be a strong pastor. No. I must be busy. And life is work. We must train ourselves to work and stop the laziness. Especially when nobody is there watching over you. Will you do what is right? Will you do what is right? Think about it. A lot of people are just men pleasers. I was watching a video. They sent me a video of a worker in a food production factory. You know, the worker had saliva built up in her system. She was packing the food. He opened it and spat inside the food and closed it. He didn't know that the supervisor, the Lebanese man, was watching from the office. So the Lebanese man rushed into the place. Now when they picked the pack, they couldn't tell which particular pack, he had spat into. So they threw all the food away. They threw all the food. The man said he cannot give it to anybody. He cannot give it to anybody. But you see, think about it. Saliva has built up in your mouth. Ask permission. Drop it. Go to the washroom. Release it. And come back. But sometimes you wonder where such thoughts occur to people. Whatever job it is you are doing, do it from your heart. I've come to it. Do it from your heart. Number 4. Living right. We need to live right. It's also part of our service. We need to live right. Living right just means that doing the right things. Following courtesy for boys and girls. There are things we shouldn't say. There are things we shouldn't do. Even littering around. The flood that came. It wasn't that there were no drainages. There were the drainages. Look at the Kaneshi, from the Kaneshi to Malam Highway. One of the major highways in Accra at the time. Properly built in the days of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah with underground gutters. Then they had this after every 1 kilometer, there is a rubbish bin in the gutters. So every month, they are supposed to bring them out and empty it. For years, it has not been emptied. For years, it has not been emptied. And so when the rain came, all the gutters choked and all the road spoiled and cleared out of the way. Because many times, we all fail to do what is right. I don't like it when the gutter in front of our house is dirty. So sometimes I tell my wife, or she also organizes, and then somebody comes to clean it and clear it. But sometimes people don't care. People will just do their things. Sometimes the gutter is there, but they will throw it over the gutter into the road. Sometimes we are waking up in the morning, our hands have entered into places, yet we are going around shaking hands with everybody. We are without washing our hands. You see, living right is just living right. Just make sure that whatever you will not want somebody to do to you, you too do not do it to another person. You go into a toilet and you finish releasing in the toilet and the thing is not there. Stand by it. Stand there until you get something to flash it. Don't leave. We call it being responsible and living right. Stand there. Don't leave anything there. Look at your neighbor and tell my neighbor, live right. Who am I now? That's Colossians chapter 3, verse 25. It says, but he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong that he had done. It says there is no respect of persons. There is no respect of persons. So as we are not living right, it showed in the recent flood that came. Heavy flooding. We reaped what we had been sowing. Must we wait for the president to say that we should clean our gutters? Must we wait for the president to say that we should clean our houses? Must we wait? We know what is right. Let's just do it. And then number 5, the 5th thing is to perform your church duties. Now, so like I said earlier, coming to church is part of your act of worship. But the day you say, I want to be an usher, I want to join the choir, I want to be in the media department, I want to be part of the cleaners in the house of God, that day you have become somebody in the service of the Lord. So he says, go down. I think when I was even talking about the work, I didn't talk about Colossians chapter 4 verse 1. So when I talk about work duties, we the employers also, we must give our people, the employees, what is just and equal, knowing that we have a master in heaven. I saw a post recently. Someone said that if someone works for you from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and you pay the person 400 cedis or 700 cedis, you're a wicked boss. At the end of 1 month, the person comes to work 6 a.m. and closes whatever time, and give the person 700 Ghana cedis. He says you're a wicked boss. Because it's like the person doesn't have any life. 6 a.m. the person is in your house or at your company working, and then works from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 12 hours. Isn't it amazing sometimes how we go to the mall and we can buy and spend on our children, but to take money and pay our workers, hey, it's a difficult thing for us. If you work with me, we can pay your children's school fees. We help you in any way that we can. Even at a point, I will help you to even look for a job. I will say that, look, I feel that this thing that you are bigger than this one. I think you should look for something bigger and do. And move on and be happy. Because I will be like, look, like especially the guys, I will be like, look, you have a family. You need to buy a land. You need to build a house. You need to have a car. You need to rise and do well. You need to think about people. Colossians 4, by verse 2, it says, continue in prayer. Watch in the same with thanksgiving. So he has left all the other duties and is now on church duties. So he says, he just mentions one of them and he says that we must learn to pray. So in the house of God, there must be intercessors who pray for the church, who pray for the pastor. He says, continue in prayer, watch in the same with thanksgiving. Then he says, without also praying, without praying for us, that God will open unto us a door of utterance to speak the mystery of Christ, for which I am also in bonds. So he says that there must be people in the church who are praying, who pray for the church, pray for the man of God, pray for the pastor, pray for the people in the church. So we need people who will be in the media team. We need people who will be in the technical team. We need people who will be part of the choir. We need people who will be part of the ushers. We need people who will take care of other things. Now there is a new ministry that is occurring to me. That is the ministry to widows. Ministry to widows. It's also another ministry that we are going into very soon. Then another thing that is occurring to my heart is the ministry to prisoners. But that one too, I'm taking my time with it. And just yesterday, I was just discussing this project. I just finished talking to somebody. The person said, Pastor, what's the next project on your heart? I said, my next project is Project to Widows. He said, what do you want to do for them? I said, well, I just feel that let's try and help and in any way. He said, what do you really want to do? I said, let's just try and help them. The person said, I want to help them today. He says, today I'm coming. I want to come and do something for any widow that is on your heart. So what I'm saying is that, look, there are several ministries in the house of God. Several things in the house of God that we can all do. Begin to ask yourself that, which role can I play? What can I do to help in the house of God? What can I do? Is it evangelism? Is it visitation? Is it the choir? What is it that I can do in the house of God to help? Is it to learn how to play the organ and become the person playing the organ in the church? It's your Christian duty. It's a house. I told you, my father sat me down. He said, hey. Then he said, Saturday, you will clean the toilet, clean the bath, scrub it, and I'll come and inspect it myself. Then he said, in the evening, we eat fufu on Saturdays, and you will be the one who will pound it and do everything and put it in the plate. Then he said, on Saturdays also, you will wash all my things. Wash my trouser, my singlet, my supporter. You used to wear briefs in those days. You wash my briefs, wash my shirts. And after washing them and drying them, I will go and remove everything and iron all of them. Iron all the trousers, iron all the shirts, iron all the singlets, iron all the supporter also. Iron everything for them beautifully in his wardrobe, so that on Monday, if he wants to dress even 4 times, he doesn't have to look for an ironer to iron for him. So as a child in the house, I had something to do. And you too, you are a child of God in the house of God. There must be something for you to do. There must be something for you to do. There must be something you can do. Sometimes maybe your leg cannot go, your hand cannot go, but maybe your money can begin to do the talking for you. Your money can begin to do something for you. You must be interested. You must be interested to do something, to engage in the house of the Lord. The first time I went for spelling bee competition, you know, spelling bee, the amazing thing is that when you go for spelling bee and you are spelling words, and there are words your teacher has taught you, your teacher expects you to answer. But you see, when you begin to spell words, your teacher knows you have never seen before. Even your teacher is surprised. Your teacher is so surprised that, how did you, what did you, like words like condemn, solemn, punctuality. I remember one of the words I spelled when I was in class 6, and I went for spelling bee, was the word punctuality. We used it to win the inter-school competition. That's the last word I spelled, and we won, and we got to the next level. But you see, where did I get all these things from? From being in Sunday school. My parents releasing me into Sunday school. You to go and join the Sunday school. Go and join the Sunday school. They said they are looking for children to do quiz. They need to be going for rehearsal. My parents will release me. Go. You to go and help. You to go and help. Go and help. Then I went to stand for our church. I didn't know that as I was standing for our church, I was standing for myself. Do something for the Lord. It will bring peace. It will bring. Many of you are not happy. When I even look at your face, you are not happy. Many of you are not fulfilled within. When you remember this night that tomorrow you will go to work, you will see the heaviness that will enter into your heart. You are not happy. The only thing that brings real fulfillment is what we do for the Lord. What we do for God. So the question then is, how do you really, really serve God? You see, the points are many, but I can't go through all that. I'm learning to preach on time. I can't go through all that, but let me just mention them. Say amen. How do you serve the Lord? Number one, how do you serve the Lord? You know, do all things by permission. Do all things by permission. So he says in Colossians chapter 3 verse 17, he says, whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of Jesus Christ. And it means that you must ask permission. Anything you want to do, you have to ask God, God, is this your will for me? Is this your plan for me? Is this your will for me? Do everything you do by permission. Are you in the church or have gone home? If you don't get to the place where you are doing everything you are doing by permission, you know, you'll just be doing things on your own, and you only fall into problems. I say all the time that there are people who are called, there are people who are sent, and there are people who came to help God. So if, let's say, we are all three pastors, and one has come to help God, and you are called, and you have been sent. If you follow the one who has come to help God, that he won't do anything for God again, you can die. You can easily die. So everything you have to ask God, God, is this your will for me? The next one is, it says, let your behavior, be as it is befitting in the sight of the Lord. So he says in Colossians chapter 3, that is verse 18, it says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as it is fit in the Lord. Let your behavior behave like one who is a Christian. That when somebody sees you, the person will see that you are a true Christian and you serve God and you follow the Lord. I have people in the area who don't come to our church, but they send their children to our Sunday school. They don't come to our church, but they send their children to our Sunday school. And one of them was telling me, he said, my mother has been talking about you all the time. When he sees you walking on the street and coming to church and going back home, she's always talking about you. I said, really? Who is your mother? Then she mentioned the name of the mother. I don't know her from Adam. But people can tell if your behavior befits a believer. And they can also tell if your behavior does not befit a believer. 3, seek to please God in all things. Seek to please God, to make God happy in everything. Seek to please God. So he says in Colossians chapter 3, verse 20, he says, children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing unto the Lord. Please the Lord. Please him. Say amen. Number 4, don't provoke anyone. Do not provoke anyone. Do not provoke anyone. Don't be doing things to provoke people to anger. So he says that fathers, in verse 21, he says, his fathers, provoke not your children unto wrath, lest they be discouraged. The level of depression in the world today has increased more than ever. So the little thing you do, somebody is discouraged, somebody is broken, somebody is hurt, and somebody is off. Even something you will say, then somebody is off. Mentally, they are depressed. So we must be careful the way we talk to people, the way we handle people. There are certain things when you say them to people, they cannot forget. And so if you realize that your words are harsh, your words are harsh and difficult. My wife heard me talking to somebody recently. I told the person the hard truth, but not in a jovial manner, but in a, I still said it. And he said, this is serious grace. Because what needed to be said, I said it. It wasn't palatable, but I said it in a way that the person's mind didn't worry the person. The person rather felt remorseful, felt sorry, and felt that they needed to do what they have to do. So as part of our service to God, we must not provoke anybody as we work for God. Somebody is washing, somebody is mopping the chapel, and then you come and walk, in the place. The place is not dry. Then you come and walk with your dirty. You are provoking the person. 6, do not seek the approval of men. I used to look to people for approval a lot. I used to, like when I'm preaching, I used to look at certain people's faces to check whether they are smiling, whether the message is okay or not. But a point came where I realized that I can't do that because it wasn't going well. So I stopped. Then there was only one person left. That was my dad. When I'm preaching, usually I look at his face and check whether he's smiling or he's not smiling, and all that. So last year at the church workers conference, I was preaching like this. I was down. I can't come down because of the camera, but I was down, just like on the second. So as I was preaching and I saw my dad's eyes, my God, it was as if he was eyeing me from the corner of his eyes. I said, but why? What have I done? But I still finished preaching. So when we closed from the service and the everything, then went to his eyes, I said, Daddy, you looked at me with some eye today. Have I done something wrong? He said, no. I said, did I say something you didn't like? He said, no. Did I behave in any way you didn't like? He said, no. He said, why do you ask? I said, you were eyeing me. He said, me. I said, oh, yes. I said, the eye with which you were looking at me, it was as if you were so angry and mad at me. Then he said to me, from today, take my name also from your approval list. Never look to me for approval. I didn't even know that he was even preparing me for his death. He says, never look to me for approval. Don't even check whether I like what you are doing or not. Don't be interested. Once it pleases God, be concerned about that one. From that day, I didn't bother any longer. So we must get to the place where you are in church, you are doing something, somebody has frowned their face. It's not because of you. Somebody is not clapping. You don't have to bother about it. Somebody is not smiling. You don't have to bother about it. Because the truth also is that when people know that you depend on them, they will use it against you. So if somebody knows that when they are smiling, it encourages you. The day they are not happy with you, they will frown their faces at you. So he says in verse 22, it says, servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh. Not with eye service, as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, serving the Lord. So don't look for approval. Somebody can pat you on the back and say that the message was good. The message was great. Recently I traveled to America, and a white lady came to tell me that I was depressed, and somebody introduced me to your messages and have been listening to it every Sunday from now. I was shocked, but I pretended I wasn't shocked. I said, oh, the Lord bless you. But I was shocked from within. Don't look for approval. Who is coming to pat you on the back? You are doing well. I've been working in the church for some time now, and pastor doesn't even smile to me. Oh, please. Sometimes pastor is walking into the church. There are things in the mind. He's a human being like you. There are things in his mind. Sometimes my challenge is that God has spoken to me about people, but I can't even tell them exactly what God has said. I want they themselves to discover it. And so you have to manage people and handle people and just be around people, pamper them until they get into what God wants them to do. Don't do anything you are doing in the house of God for approval. Don't do it, never. And finally, do everything from the heart. Everything you are doing, do it from the heart. Do it from your heart. Let it be from your heart. When I'm praying for you, that you should be delivered, you should be given liberty out of every difficulty, any challenge, any demon trying to fight you. So let you go. When I'm praying it, I pray it from my heart. Because I know that myself, I'm also included. I'm also a member in the church. So whatever you do, do it heartily, as unto the Lord and not unto men. As unto the Lord and not unto men. And finally, my last point to close is that knowing that of the Lord, you shall receive the reward of your inheritance. The final point is that, why must I serve the Lord? And the answer is simple: to lay hold or to receive your inheritance. Those who serve God, God always rewards them. Those who serve God, God always, He rewards them. Sometimes the rewards will pass over and go into your children. You know, one day Paul wrote a message to, a letter to Timothy. Timothy was a young bishop, anointed man of God. In, is it 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 5 or so? I think it is. 2 Timothy 1 5, it says, when I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that dwelt in thee, that dwelt in your mother, your grandmother Lois, and in your mother Eunice, and I'm persuaded that it is in you also. Paul said, Timothy, when I see the way, you know, nothing discourages you, nothing breaks your spirit, you are unbreakable, you are unstoppable, nothing depresses you, you are strong all the time, you are sound in mind, disciplined, focused, overcoming every distraction. He says, no, I'm convinced that this one, it cannot be from you. It's an inheritance you receive from your grandmother Lois. And your grandmother Lois gave it over to your mother Eunice. And your mother Eunice is the one who has passed it on into your life. People, when you serve God, God has a way of rewarding you that will blow your mind. I can't give you any other example apart from my own. One day, I took money to my dad in the house. And when I say money, I took money to him. I don't even think of any big money. I don't know what it is, but I want to give him money. When I gave him the money, he was sitting in his chair, and tears. My Bishop doesn't cry. I've seen Bishop cry only once, when his second wife died. That was the only time I saw Bishop cry. I mean, asking like openly. But tears welled up his eyes. And I said, but Daddy, why? He said, where did you learn all these things? Where did you learn all these things? All these things you are doing, where did you learn them from? All these things, where did you get them from? Where did you get all the, where does the idea come from? Where does it just come from? And I said, Daddy, it's from the Lord. It's just from the Lord. But you see, when you labor, when you sweat, when you labor, when you sweat, when you labor, and you sweat, and you are laboring, and you are sweating, and God sees that what He wants to give you, maybe even you cannot carry it. He will pick one of your children, or pick all your children, and begin to pour it into the lives of your children. And begin to do things for them and help them and to open doors for them. One woman who went through so much pain in her marriage. One day, you know, she went to her son's house. And when she was sitting at the son's house, and she was in the bedroom, and she just heard her son and the wife chatting, you know, she broke down. So she took a phone and she called me. And she said, Pastor, serving God is a good thing. And I said, why do you say that? He said, what I didn't get in my marriage, the peace, the joy, the laughter that I didn't get in my marriage, by serving God, I see my children. He said, I've been in my first son's house. I've been in my second son's house. I've been in my third son's house. And I'm in my daughter's house now. And my son has come with his wife. And the way they're all chatting in the sitting room, Pastor, it can only be because I serve God. You leave money for your children, they'll waste it. You leave a house for your children, they'll waste it. They'll sell it. Put your name even on it, they will change it. But give them God. Give them an inheritance. Give them something that comes out of your service to God. They will never forget it. They will never forget it. I was telling the people in the first service, you know, one day I traveled and I got stranded at an airport. The airport was so big that to run from this end to the other end of the airport. By the time I got there, the plane had left. And when the plane had left, I was stranded. So I went to look, and then they took me. So, by the time I realized, strange, I didn't know from somewhere, took me to this nice hotel, then took me to this nice room, and I entered the room. When I entered the room, I was shocked. Then I realized he didn't give me food, so I called and I said, how about food? Where can I get food to buy? He said, you look on the table. When I looked on the table, you can order for free. Come and see, I just crossed my leg and I started to order, and things were coming. But you see, at the end of it, I asked myself, why? Why? Then I remembered my preaching to you, my laying on of hands on you, my praying for you in my bedroom, my fasting on your behalf, praying that God will keep you, praying that God will preserve you, without demanding anything from you. Look, I do tarry in Seoul Tomo. There is money there, but I don't even know how much is there. Somebody keeps the money. My mind is not on that one. It's more about the blessing of the people, how the people will be blessed, how the people will be safe, how the people will do well, how people have testimonies. Last Tuesday, someone came to give a testimony that the water I used to wash my hand, he kept it. He went to collect it. He kept it. So he was suffering from glaucoma. And his eyes, he did everything, it was not going. So he remembered the water and took the soapy water to wash his eyes. He said the glaucoma, don't clap please. He said the glaucoma cleared immediately. Some of those things, God will reward you. It may be with money. It may be with favor. It may be with an open door. God will just reward you. When I see people who don't want to serve God, but they want to subscribe to using means to make things happen for them, I get shocked. I get surprised. Your church has never bought me a ticket to America before. Your church has never bought me a ticket to America before. Not in any branch. But all the time, my ticket is always paid for. Not even once as your church. Maybe if I want to upgrade, then I'll say, okay, help me to upgrade. But apart from that one, your church has never bought me a ticket to America before. And I've never called anybody and said, I want to come to America. I don't have anything doing. I have to go now. But I even don't know when I have to go. Because my heart is beating for my people. When I leave the people at the tarrying, so what will I do with them? What will I do with them? I need to get somebody who can master them, who can pastor them, and be with them. All these things, when you do it for God, God will reward you. I don't know why you're all quiet, but think about it. Many of the things you are fighting for, scrambling for. Look, God has a way of giving them to you for free without even thinking about it. So people, I don't know where your heart is. I don't know where your heart is. I do not know where your heart is. As I said, I was just starting with somebody. A person just asked, what is your next project you are thinking? I said, I'm thinking about this kind of people. The person said, look, whatever it is, I'll come today. We'll handle it and deal with it. It's a blessing. I don't know where your heart is. I could have mentioned something for myself. But car, my mind is not on car. My mind is not on them. Where my real heart is, God knows. So you have to get to the place where you are serving God and you are doing it from your heart, not looking for anything from anybody. God may bless you with a very sweet marriage because of it. God may bless you with a very good man because of it. God may bless you with a very good wife because of it. God will let your children, they'll grow up in the fear of the Lord. It will shock you. You'll be amazed at what God wants to do. Recently, my wife and I, somebody said he was going to give us money to do something. So we said, okay, then let's start. So we're going to go. Then I had a dream. In fact, I went to Prophet. I was chatting with Prophet Kakrabe then, and I told Prophet that this is what I'm thinking. Then he said, well, let me pray. So we prayed. I came home, I had a dream. You see, when I had a dream, the Lord said, look, it's not your time. And he showed me why it wasn't your time. Then, the day was supposed, close to the day that was supposed to go, then my wife also had a dream. And told, you see, so when she told me, then I told her mine. Because I didn't tell her mine. Then I told her mine. That this is what God is saying. You see, when you serve God, He will love you. And when He loves you, even when danger is looming, God will deliver you from the danger. Hey, that dream, what it has done for me, I saw that God can give you one dream that delivers you from 50 years of pain. Serve God. Find something. You are a shepherd. You see, my problem is that we stopped the shepherding for now. In September we start. If you are tired, don't join the next time. Don't join. Don't join. Just give an excuse and don't join the next time. Rather than to join and be grumbling in your heart, I didn't want to be a shepherd. It's pastor who pointed me and said I should be a shepherd. And you too, you are there. Let me tell you, the blessings, there are so many. Look at Exodus chapter 23, verse 25. I'm your pastor. Let me have time for you today. Exodus 23, 25. It says, ye shall serve the Lord your God. He shall bless thy bread and bless thy water, and now take sickness out of the midst of you. There are some sicknesses, they don't go until you are serving God. I'll say it again. There are some sicknesses, they do not go until you are serving God. They won't go. Until you are in the service of God. You are serving him hard. You are tired, but you say, I will still be the pastor. You are tired, but you say, I will still fast and pray. You are tired, but you say, I will still worship. I will still do what I have to do for the people. Until you are serving God, that sickness will not go. Sometimes the miracle you are expecting will not also come until you begin to serve God. So if I were you, I will push. I will join the ushering. I will join everything. Anything I can do to just help. Anything I can do to just help. Anything I can do to just help. I can do to help. And do. And flow. So serving God, it has benefit. Malachi 3:18. I don't want, I'm about to close one of the scriptures. I just fled. Malachi 3:18. It says, you shall return and you will discern the difference between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. So it talks about the righteous and the wicked. But it says him that serveth God. So it says that after a time, you will come to see that there is a difference between the person who serves God and the person who doesn't serve God. So think about these things carefully. Think about it. I was with Elder Gawugah and his wife yesterday. We're planning the launch of the book. And they were telling me that they don't even know why Dr. Peter chose them. And I told them it's the grace of God. When you serve God from your heart, he has a way of just honoring you in a way that blows your mind. When you just serve God, serve him wholeheartedly from your heart. You serve him wholeheartedly from your heart. He has a way. So all this, I know that person, I know that person, I know this person, I know that person, I know this person, I know that person. Listen, leave all that one. And rather, think about what you can do more for God. Some of you think that the ushering you are doing it for pastor. So if you are not happy with the pastor, you say, you won't do it again. You think that maybe the shepherding you are doing it for pastor. So if you are angry, you say, you won't do it again. Or maybe you are managing the computer at the back. If you are angry with pastor, you say, you won't do it again because you think you are doing it for me. You are not doing it for me. You are doing it unto the Lord. Why are you a shepherd? My pastor likes me. That's why I'm being a shepherd. Oh, is that why? That's the only motivation? I'm shocked. Resign. Say amen. Yes. Let your motivation be the fact that, Charlie, you love God. That's why you are doing it for him. The Lord bless you.